Best movie year ever. How 1999 blew up the big screen by Brian Raftery. This book makes the case for why 1999 is the best movie year that has ever happened. They make a very compelling case. I was surprised at the list of movies that I really like that came from this year. More than the movies I like, I was also surprised at the cultural significant movies that I never really got into, but still I know that they were influential in the course of how movies were shaped over the years. So I'm going to read you the long list of movie examples that they talk about in this book, all coming out in 1999. You have the Blair Witch Project and that whole found footage horror documentary starting there. There's Fight Club, The Matrix, American Beauty, The Sixth Sense, a string of teen comedies, American Pie, She's All That, 10 Things I Hate About You, then Cruel Intentions, for the more mature crowd, Galaxy Quest, Iron Giant, Notting Hill, Office Space, Star Wars Episode 1, being John Malkovich, and Following by Christopher Nolan, his first feature length that started to put some attention on him. It seemed to be an era where there was a lot of new ideas from new faces, new directors, new actors that were coming onto the scene. The book was also a cultural commentary, which was more insightful than I thought it would be. It was a time when people were going to the movies, actually going to the theater, and that was the big experience. It was a time when there were a lot of people working in cubicles and were really sick of it, so thus the movies Office Space, American Beauty. We just had the Monica Lewinsky affair in the White House, and Columbine happened that year. So the book talks about a lot of these political things that were happening at the time and how the movies interacted with these news sources. Personally, I love this book. It was so fun to hear about the backstory of all these movies that I grew up watching and loving, and to hear of how they got their unlikely start. I feel like that's how a lot of these movies were. They weren't supposed to amount to anything, but suddenly they're these big hits and we're still talking about them 20-some years later. I highly recommend. This is a solid 4.5 stars. If you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments below.